Yo, what up guys, so in today's video what I want to do is basically, as I said, as I promised, today we're going to solve the Joker VM, and I would say it's one of the best levels if you want to learn hacking, and because basically what it does, it tests your basically knowledge of pen testing and red teaming, and also give you some additional knowledge. And if you've never exploited Joomla CMS, if you've never done really any brute forcing, if you have Hydra, if you don't know how to find certain vulnerabilities, this is definitely something you will, I would say, benefit from. So make sure you stick to the end of the video. I will do some pinpointing, timestamps, so you can scroll through. Maybe you already know something, you can just go ahead. Unfortunately, I'm not going to give you any flags because I'm not going to pinpoint any flags, but because that's not the point. The point is basically for you to learn how to actually start pen testing, hacking, and also learn from me how to, obviously every single person is different, every single person may use different tools, every single different is obviously has a different mindset and everything. So but this is what you're looking for, right? And this is a guided CTF, so it should not be that hard. As the description says, it's not hard, and I would definitely agree, it's not hard. It just takes a little patience if you can't get something done. You remember to always use the internet if you're struggling with something. So right, so the first question on the basically the first question is enumerate the services. So the first one you need to use Nmap, right? Now you can obviously, as I said, you can use different tools. I'm not going to use any different tools now. As you can see, I'm using two flags. The flags are SV, which shows you the version. I'm also scanning for every single port in this machine. There's only 3 ports now. When this finishes, it should not take long because should take a second to basically done. As you can see, oh, so it's done, right? So as you can see, we get 3 ports. Now, usually when you see SSH is something you should be interested in, but however, because we're doing a level CTF on TryHackMe, you shouldn't really be concerned about SSH, because the chance of you getting SSH brute forcing or something you be able to crack SSH is pretty none to slim. Remember that some basically SSH versions might be configured to use public keys and private key encryption, which means you will never ever be able to guess the private key and public key encryption. So the chances of you hacking is 0 to none. That's also what Amazon uses for EC2 computers or virtual machines, right? Because it's more secure. Right, so the second question is what version of Apache is it, right? So 2.4.29, and as far as I know, there's no vulnerabilities on this version, right? So we need to exploit further, right? So what we need to do is we should visit the website now, because we need to, maybe we can find something, maybe we can find the CMS, right? So we should visit the website. There's also, as you can see, there's 8080, right? But that's not something we're gonna exploit right now. We're gonna go to the website now. What we need to do is just put the IP address. So my IP address is this. You don't need to specify the port, because if you put HTTP runs on port 80, which you're specifying the port already. And as you can see, we're getting the website of Joker, well, the level of Joker, and there's nothing really interesting here. There's literally nothing. We could do some enumeration, like manual enumeration, so look through the source code. If I can get the source code out. So there's not much here, right? I mean, there's something, I actually just found out there's something here, but as you can see, there's just a lot of images, and it's not something that we're interested in, right? So the second thing we need to do is we need to run an enumeration, right? So for this, what we can use is GoBuster, and the question is, there's a secret file. Now what we're gonna do is actually we're gonna run a dirbuster with looking for, now hopefully I can specify, because I always get this wrong. So we're looking for txt, right? It's a free word, right? So we're looking for GIF, txt, PHP, I would say, and SQL, txt, PHP. Yeah, so we're looking for these for now. As you can see, I did not find what I wanted because I've done it wrong again. I always get this wrong every single time. There you go. So as you can see, if you're trying to run looking for files, GoBuster is basically a directory busting tool, right? Directory DNS. subdomains and everything, you can use GoBuster. Now GoBuster, as you can see there, so we're scanning for directories and files, -u, -u, which is the link, word list, and X stands for basically files. So we're looking for extensions, right? So maybe we're looking for a database, SQL, maybe you're looking for PHP, TXT, GIF, PNG, JPEG, whatever, right? You can specify, as I said, just specify like this. Do not put spaces between because it won't work, right? That's why I'll always get it wrong because I sometimes forget how to run with files. So as you can see, we actually get two answers for our answer for our question. So if you go on the website and you specify secret.txt, right? As you can see, we get a secret.txt, which is a part of our question on TryHackMe. So just make sure you put that in. And then there's another file, if I can just look for the file name, which was phpinfo.php. phpinfo.php. Now it is basically the it gives us some information, Apache 2.49. Right, so what we could do is do further enumeration of these actual files. Now, however, I'm not going to do that. The reason is, just to save time, I'm not going to go through, but if you want, you can enumerate, obviously, but I can tell you straight away, there's nothing here. Right, but we sort of had to actually get here because if you go secret.txt, it is a hint of the usernames. Now, if you look at the TryHackMe questions, you can sort of cheat and say that we have a 5-letter username, right? So the 5-letter username from this here is Joker. Batman is 6 characters, right? Now something I usually get wrong is, in a second when I'm going to do brute forcing, I will show you what I get wrong and sort of what I waste time on. And it's not getting wrong, it's just me wasting time, right? So now because there's 2 ports, right? Remember there's 2 ports. Port 8080 TCP HTTP Apache. Now we have not been to that website, right? So we need to specify that website by just adding the port number, and as you can see, it's asking this sign in, right? We can do some default credentials, right? But it's not gonna get we can basically be here forever and do some different credentials, but it's not gonna work. So obviously manual exploitation is not worth the time. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not, but in this case it's not. What we could do if it was a CMS, like if we were to hack into, brute force into WordPress or like Joomla or Few CMS or any other CMSs, we could try default credentials, but in this case, we obviously are not hacking into a CMS. We're hacking into a specially additional authentication website. So what we're going to use is Hydra. Now, let's just run Hydra because I can't remember exactly. I'm pretty sure it's lowercase l. No, so Hydra, now let me just make this bigger for you guys. Right, so Hydra lowercase l specifies the username if we know the username. Now, just to save time before, if you run this, make sure you use lowercase j. What I've done is I used capital Joker, right? And for that case, I wasted a lot of time. I spent about 5-10 minutes waiting because I thought the password was long. And then I was like, the password on TryHackMe is pretty short, and I'm waiting for 10 minutes. Hydra would have done it ages ago, right? So make sure that sometimes if it doesn't get the password for 5 minutes, just change the login to something lowercase, and then it should work. Right, so make sure you specify lowercase Joker. So Joker, password. Now we're gonna use our basically my most favorite word lists. So we're gonna use Roku.txt. This is for Kali. I'm pretty sure it's the same for Parrot. So make sure you specify the correct file path. On Parrot, it should be /opt/useful sick lists, and you should have other word lists there for you to use. So Hydra -l Joker --p user share word list Roku.txt. Now, usually what you would do is try and brute force to. Obviously with SSH, for example, you need to specify the SSH and specify the IP address, but obviously because we're hacking into a website, right? So basically Hydra ljoker -p. So now if you do basically -f, the IP address of what's my IP address? My IP address is 192.168. And now if you use port, now make sure you specify the port, because if you don't specify the port, it's gonna give you an error, right? So the port is 8080 and HTTP get, and make sure you put the /, and if you run this, it should run. Now, if you don't get any errors within, I would say 10-15 seconds, that means it's running. And also if you press enter, it will give you an output of if it's running or not. So as you can see, it is running right now. And it should take a couple seconds. As you can see, it gives us how many possibilities there are. So we have one login against 1.4 million passwords, which is that 1.4? Sorry, it's against 40 million passwords, right? So as you can see, it took, what did I say? It took nearly 30 seconds, it took about 30 seconds, right? 30 seconds to crack. Now, if you use Joker HANA, right, if you come here, and if you specify the port again, right, we got a positive result. So if you put Joker and you put HANA, right, it gives us access to, now you don't know what sort of CMS is this. We could use Wappalizer. However, I don't have Wappalizer installed. TryHackMe actually doesn't install Wappalizer. Hack-the-Box by default has Wappalizer. So we can obviously tell by looking at the popular tags Joomla, we can tell this is a Joomla CMS. Now, I've not checked, but I believe there's no exploits for Joomla CMS. So what we need to do now is try and basically enumerate this file, this domain, right? So we can use GoBuster, right? So we're gonna open another folder, sorry, another terminal. And what we're gonna use GoBuster dir http. And if I'm not wrong, there we go. I'm just gonna put this 986 port 8080. Now it's not gonna run. If you were to run this, it's not gonna work. Why? Because basically, because we had to basically log in, right? There's an authentication. Sorry, I'm just talking and typing, right? So what we can use now, I'm just gonna, before I actually do. Now, sometimes when I do pen testing, it gets really messy, but it's just the way I work. I know it's not good, but it's sort of the way that suits me, right? So if you look through GoBuster, it works with, this command will work with basically most of the tools. If not, then just -help. If you look through, yeah, sorry, I forgot I had this like in a different command. So basically you need to run GoBuster dir help, and the reason is because we need to specify the username, credentials and password, right? So the reason is, so the way you do this is very easy. You just need to, where's the command I was running? Is it different? Is it, I think it's this one. Yeah, so what we need to do is we basically specify what we want. Now what we need to do is specify the username. So if you look through here, it's username and password string. Now string is basically text and string is text, right? So if you specify capital U, Joker, and I think it's a capital P. Capital P, it is HANA. Now, so if you let this run, as you can see, we get the, basically the whole library of the website, right? Now, usually when you get credentials, for example, we just got credential of Joker and HANA, it doesn't work, right? It does not work. I'm gonna show you right now, it does not work, but you should still always test the same credentials, because people, and usually CTFs, are very prone to using the same credentials. So if you use Joker and HANA, can I see the password? No. Right, so as you can see, I put the password that we got as the same, it doesn't work, right? That's fine. SSH does not work. I've not checked it, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't work. So we run a directory bus, but we run a directory bus for a reason, right? So if you take a look through all of this, we can check robots.txt, we can check robots, but something we're interested in is backup. So if you run /backup, right, backup.zip, and we can open it, and if you try to read the SQL file, which is Joomla DB SQL file, now it asks you for password. Now, either we could crack it using John, but the thing is we already have credentials, right? I actually cracked it when the first time I was doing it, I cracked it for fun, and it came back to the same credentials, right? So you should always try the same credentials. However, if it doesn't show you the same credentials, then you need to use John, right? John is one of the best tools, and I recommend you use John, right? So we're gonna take it to our desktop, and what we're gonna do is try open it with the whatever, right? So we're gonna use HANA as our password, right? HANA, right? And HANA basically is a positive password which allows us to exploit well, not exploit, but it gives us a view of the database. Now, database is important because databases usually have logins, password, details, IP addresses, anything you might want, it is in a database, right? That's why databases are also very, very important that you keep them secure. So as you can see, people usually what they do is they load databases. What I like to do, I just like to look through the source code of the database. And if you basically, as you can see, it's a big text file, right? As you can see, a big text file, right? So looking through this may be a bit of a pain, but if you specify, for example, maybe look for certain usernames, for example, maybe Joker, nothing here, is it? Nope. What if we look for an admin and we found something about admin, right? But I don't think it's anything here. Nope. So find another one, administrator, nope, no. And is used put $, right? $signs might be a start of a hash, right? Now this is the fast way, right? Instead of me just going through the whole source code, I just basically want to take this, maybe not like this. As I said, what happens is basically we found a hash, right? So we found some credentials, super duper user admin at admin@example.com, and we get this. Now, if you don't know what this is, it's basically something called a hash, right? So we're going to take this, right? We copy this, make sure you copy between the quotation marks because this is a part of the password, right? So if you take this, and now we can use a tool called hashcat, right? Let me just make this bigger. So let's use hashcat -h to get the starting mode. And also, well, this is starting, but we're gonna use another tool. But we're gonna use this because of hash ID. Now we're gonna specify the hash, copy the hash. Paste the selection, make sure it's between the quotation marks, and -m. What does -m do? It specifies what sort of, which hash it is and what type it is in hashcat, right? So we're gonna put this -m. It told us blowfish OpenBSD hashcat mode 3012. 312, right? 3200, sorry. What the fuck am I talking about? Right, okay. So we know what the hash it is now. Now obviously we still don't know what the password is, we want to get the password. So what we do is hashcat. Now this is basically just use the word list, it will work, right? So use this. So hashcat -a to specify the mode, -o, O -m. And now 400 is for, 0 is for MD5, right? This is the hash mode. So if you specify 3200, you put the hash, and now the hash has to be between basically, no, not this. Oh, come on. TryHackMe doesn't like me today for some reason. It does not like me at all. It hates me, right? So we take this, copy selection, paste it between the quotation marks. Yep, and if you specify the word list, so we're gonna use our beautiful word list of rockq.txt. Now it should work, hopefully, without any errors. Yep. Now hashcat should take, I think it takes around a minute to crack. It's a very short password. It takes very short time to crack this. And I'm going to also show you, once you crack this, you might not get the password, so you're going to have to put another input to get the password, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the video for a second, and I'll come back to you guys once it cracks it. Now, as you can see, basically it cracked. So it says session hashcat cracked. Now, if it says cracked, it means it was positive. And as you can see, I don't see the password, right? So, oh, sorry, you do see the password. So yeah, the password's here. But if for whatever reason you could not get the password, all you do is run the same command and just put -show, and it will show you the password. Because what hashcat does, if it cracks the password once, it will not show you the same password twice. It will basically ignore it and will hack any new hashes. So what we need to do is put -show, and instead of obviously running the hashcat again, it will basically show you the hash, right? And as you can see, the password is here, ABCD1234. So this is the password right now. So if you try to log in, and we're gonna put /administrator, and we're gonna put the username of admin, and we're gonna put ABCD1234, and you just put save. I would recommend saving it so you don't forget the password. And basically we're in. Once you're in the CMS, basically if you're administrator, as you can see, super duper user and administration. That's a location actually. So yeah, right. So now what do? Now we need to get something called reverse shell. How do you get the reverse shell? The reverse shell is very, very easy. It's like WordPress, but obviously just on a different layer of the navigation. So what we need to do is go extensions, and if you go to templates, and if you go to BS free details, it might be a different one for you. You just need to find the one that's working. You can always paste it in every single template and it's very, very easy. It's actually easier than WordPress, I would say, because WordPress you need to get the link, and Joomla is basically just another button that runs it, right? So we get index PHP. We can actually take anything but like getting the index PHP. So if you do nc nlvp, and we're going to specify the port number 4444 because that's the hacker's favorite. You can specify whatever you want. I would recommend something above 1000. So we're going to do this reverse shell generator now, because this will get a payload ready for us, right? So we're going to go to the website, specify the port number and the IP address of our machine. Now, how do you get the machine IP address? If you go to basically terminal and just put fconfig, fconfig, and it'll give you ETH0, you use this IP address, right? There's only one, so you need to specify this. This is the loopback address. You cannot get a reverse shell on this, right? So IP addresses, I can tell the IP address by looking at the link at the top, which you guys can't see, unfortunately. So let me just put the IP address, right? This is my IP address. Now, if you go to Linux, and specify the PHP is for website, so if you just copy, and as you can see, also, how do you know if it's PHP? Because I'll tell you here. So if you do configuration files, it should tell you what language it is using, and obviously we found PHP, so PHP will definitely work. So if you just press Control V, copy it. Did I copy it? Yes, I did, in fact. Okay, so now make sure you save. Now make sure you're running the listener, which is netcat nlvp. You can use something else. I like to use netcat nlvp 444. Now if you use template preview, it won't load, right? This is a good sign. And if you're here, we got a reverse shell, right? So basically it specifies us who we are, logged in. And now if you do ID, it tells us www data, or if you do who am I, it tells you who you are, which is also your question. If you do Python for a -c import pty spawn bin bash bosh. Sorry, my typing is not the greatest today. I can't see my keyboard. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, we are at Ubuntu and we are www data at Ubuntu, the host name, and this is the user. Right. So, now what we need to do is basically get root. How do we get root? You get root easily by looking basically some exploits. So we don't know the password. We cannot run sudo l because it'll ask for a password. We cannot get the password. We could run the basically permissions. Look what we have permissions to and possibly exploit that. Sometimes we may have actually root access. But unfortunately we don't. We are actually designed to exploit LXD, right? So we're going to use, also it tells you on the level that you should use LXD exploitation for you to get root, right? So what I'm going to do is basically show you guys how to do this. It's pretty basic, but it takes basically the first time it might not work for you. You just need to basically do some troubleshooting. The first time I've run this, maybe because I read it too fast, but it did not work for me the first time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut, and I'm going to show you guys how to basically run LXD exploit. Right, so now what we're going to do is basically exploit LXD, right? So if you go basically to internet, and if you basically go to .com and we type in LXD privilege escalation, and it would take a second. So LXD privilege, now this is usually the first one's the best. Either hack tricks or hack articles.india, if I'm not wrong. So basically these are the best two websites that you can use. to find good basically ways to privilege escalate, or basically many other things that you can learn from, which I do highly recommend checking out these websites. So as you can see, there's some steps, right? But the images are highlighted here, so we're just going to take the first thing, right? So now where I have went wrong because I wasn't paying attention, what I've tried to do is install something on the wrong machine. So the first thing we need to do is go to our Kali. Make sure you're doing this on Kali. We just need to paste this in. Basically, if I could get the right link. All right. Get clone. Right. Let's just follow this tutorial. So basically cd nlxd builder, alpine builder. Did I install the correct thing? Let's just do alpine builder. If I'm not wrong, the right command. Yeah, sorry. Just copy this command. If it doesn't work, I'm pretty sure it's absolutely fine, because I think, yeah. So just build alpine. Once it's built, let me just look for the. Now, it doesn't really matter. I would recommend using this 19 version. So the first thing you need to do basically now, because we need to transfer these files, right? How do you transfer? We can use Python server to actually download files. So what we're going to do is make sure we're in the right directory, right? So we're in the directory with the Alpine builder. And we're going to do this python 3 m http server, and it's hosted on the server. Now it doesn't give us an IP address, which is absolutely fine. The IP address is of our machine that we're on, right? So the lhost machine, port 8000. So now if you go to our reverse shell and you go to TMP, and we basically, TMP allows us to basically download files, and it allows us basically sort of more allows us more space to work with, and allows us sort of more permissions. Right? So basically if I do wget, right, so do http 10.10.36.200 and port 8000, and now just copy the name of the tar file, right, because that's what the tutorial says. Copy the tar file, copy it. Now it should, if it says basically alpine 100%, it shows you how long it took, and it shows you basically this output, what the file weight is, and you put ls, it gives you the alpine tar, right? Now we can download this. So now if you just copy basically we just need to copy the commands. So what I'm going to do is copy the commands. The command is this, so alpine, sorry. And then we might have to copy, we can actually just copy and paste, right? I'm not going to type out because that's the noobish way. So I'm just going to copy and paste it. Oh, maybe I'm not allowed to. Should be allowed to, I've done it before. Copy selection. Paste selection, there we go, and then we need to, now please be careful with the text, with the commands, because the commands are very important. You need to be very specific. If you don't put the right commands, right, if you don't put the right commands, it's not going to work, because I was I was basically doing this, and I was, basically, as you can see, we have an image. It took me a lot of time to basically get the commands, because what happened is I wasn't putting the right commands, and I was like, why is this not shit working? Right, so make sure you put the right commands, make sure you follow the tutorial. There's no shame in following tutorial. I would never know that even this is exploitable, right, if you're not to, because of the internet. So make sure you just follow the tutorial. Just copy the commands, it's very easy. I'll leave this tutorial in the, as you can see, we get an error, but if you get hashtag, it means we root. Right, so basically, because I have done a lot of boo-boo, if you go to cd and mnt, you get another root, and if you go to cd root, and then there's another, basically, as you can see, there's another Linux directory root files, right? So if you go cd root, again, it will give us the final structure, the final key to the puzzle. So that was it. I tried to basically go as quick as I could to not make this video 3 hours long. So I hope you guys learned something. As I said, this was very fun CTF. I tried my best to basically no bore you guys, just try and go through the CTF so you can also try this, so if you get stuck. Now the main point of the video is not just for you guys to do the CTF. For the main point of this video is for you guys to basically learn what to do in certain situations and how to basically look for what you're looking for, or maybe you're looking for certain files, and basically to watch me do stuff, because this is also how you learn stuff. I also learn by basically sometimes by watching. I don't really like watching videos, but I like to do is basically go and explore myself, right? But obviously I know there's many people that will find this video beneficial, and if you find it beneficial, make sure that you leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe, follow my Twitter, and check out my socials. And thank you guys for watching, and see you guys in the next video.